Hi, I'm Laura from Everyday Adventurous Images, and this is a video tutorial series on creating bespoke movement artwork with Snapseed. In the series, I'm going to share with you all of my hints, tips, and photo editing secrets on how to turn shots like these into works of movement art like these. So, how does it work? The series comprises of 8 video tutorials split into 3 parts. In the first part, creating your image, step-by-step guides will show you how to use Snapseed to stitch together your photos to create the 3 different types of movement images that I use most often: burst shots, shadow shots, and echo shots. In the second part, adding style, are 3 guides dedicated to using the looks and editing tools within Snapseed to create your own signature styles, including a dedicated guide to creating colour splash images. In the third part, Getting Technical, are 2 bonus guides which will help to make your photo editing life so much easier. These guides will enable you to consistently produce high quality edits in a fraction of the time. This is tutorial 2, Shadow Shots. Create works of art by blending together your favourite burst photos. In this tutorial, I'm going to explain exactly what we mean by shadow shots, how to position your shadows, how to use double exposure styles, and how to vary the transparency to make the most of your shadow shots. So, what are shadow shots? Some of my most popular images on Instagram are shadow shots, but what exactly are they? Shadow shots are images in which 2 shots are overlaid onto each other to create a shadow effect. The overlaid shot always has an element of transparency to allow the base image to be seen underneath. Clever editing tools can then be used to emphasize the effect and add the wow factor to your very own shadow shots. So, the first step to achieving the perfect shadow shot is in positioning your shadows. To do this, you first need to choose your base image. In a shadow shot, the subject in your base image will be the smaller of the 2 images and will be completely surrounded by the subject in the second shot. So my tip would be to try to make sure that the subject in your base image is somewhere near the middle of your original shot and that there is enough space around them to allow your second image to completely overlap it. Okay, so now you know what you're looking for in a base image, let's go ahead and open yours up in Snapseed. Tap the Snapseed app on your home screen and then tap Open, the top of the screen, to open your base image. Tap Open from Device, tap Albums at the top of your screen, and then tap on the album containing your photo. As you know, mine are saved in my Burst album, but yours will probably be in Recents. And then just tap on the photo that you've decided to use as your base image. I've chosen the second of my 3 burst shots, as that's the one where the subject is positioned the closest to the centre of the shot. Okay, that's your base image all loaded up. So to bring in your second shot, we need to select the double exposure tool from the Tools menu at the bottom of the screen. So you tap Tools, scroll down the menu until you find the double exposure icon, and tap it. Then you can tap the image icon at the bottom left and select your second shot in the same way from albums. We'll tap albums at the top of the screen, select your album and select your second shot. Once it opens up overlaid on top of your base image, you can then zoom in using 2 fingers on the screen to pinch and 2 fingers on the screen to drag the image around. As I've said, I try to ensure that the subject in the base image is completely contained within the subject of the second image. Try and position it to show the best of both images. Don't worry if your image doesn't have much definition at this stage, that's the next step. So now we've positioned our shadows, it's on to selecting a shadow shot style. To do this, we're going to tap the style icon in the bottom centre of the screen to open up the style menu. As you can see, there are 6 different double exposure styles: default, lighten, darken, add, subtract, and overlay. You can tap each one to see the different effects. The effects vary a lot depending on the amounts of light and shade in your original shot. So have a play and see what works best for each shot. Lighten, add, and overlay are the ones I use most often. To be honest, if in doubt, stick with default. It's pretty rare that default doesn't come up trumps for shadow shot styles. And as with everything in Snapseed, know that you can always come back and amend your choice later on. So we've chosen our style, now it's time to play with transparency, or as we know it in Snapseed, opacity. That is, how much of the second image we want to impose on top of the base image, how transparent we want to make it. We're going to tap the opacity icon in the bottom right of the screen to open up the opacity slider. We're then going to alter the opacity of our second image by dragging the slider left and right using our finger. Dragging to the left will make our base image more prominent, whilst dragging to the right will make our second image more prominent. Somewhere in the middle usually works well, so just have a play, and when you're happy, just tap the done tick at the bottom right of the screen. And again, remember you can always come back to these selections and tweak them later on, so don't worry too much about getting them spot on first time round. And that's it. Now you know how to create your very own shadow shots by following my simple steps. Understanding exactly what we mean by shadow shots, how to position your shadows, how to use double exposure styles, and how to vary the transparency to make the most of your shadow shots. What next? Now you've completed the shadow shots tutorial, you have all the know-how to create shadow shots of your very own. Next, you can choose to complete the remaining Creating Your Image tutorial, Echo Shots, or you can skip straight on over to the Adding Style tutorials to discover the magic that using looks, tools and colour splash can add to your shadow shot images. Then what? Share your images on Instagram using the hashtag #MoveSnappers. I'd love to see your shadow shots, and I'll happily give you pointers on there too. And if you want my help creating bespoke images from your photos, just head on over to the website everydayadventurous.com/images to commission me to create your very own work of movement art. Bye for now, Move Snappers.